Good afternoon and welcome. You're listening to We Radio, powered by MGN Funding, our direct mortgage banker and lender. MGN making a difference in our community. Guyana coming back. We've got the trade winds, Dave Martin, and most definitely coming back. We're going live to Guyana right about now. As we've been talking and telling you and promoting and letting you know, this afternoon we have our very, very special guest, and we're honored to have him because he is on a business schedule and he is giving us this opportunity to talk to him about what's going on in Guyana. The Honorable David Patterson, Member of Parliament, and he is the Minister of Public Infrastructure, and he's here with us. Man, no stranger to our public in Guyana, and working diligently bring about changes in Guyana. So much to deal with. Mr. Patterson, welcome aboard We Radio. Well, we are very honored to have with us on We Radio this afternoon Honorable David Patterson, Minister of Public Infrastructure, and welcome aboard. Good afternoon, Honorable, and good afternoon, Minister David Patterson. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I hope that you get
yes, it's a good connection. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Honorable Mr. Patterson, as we welcome you here in the New York metropolitan area, and not only friends of nationals from Guyana, but we have all over the Caribbean and people listening all over the world, as a matter of fact, on We Radio Online, and we're all over tuned in and turned on to us. Wanted to know what's happening in Guyana and what you've been doing. We heard about a whole lot happening between Guyana and Venezuela next door, and so much going on. But just before we get into all of that, I want to just give us a quick synopsis of what you have been doing for Guyana, a little background on yourself, if you will.
Yes, thank you, Bob. I had the Ministry of Public Infrastructure. That ministry, obviously, is quite large because it encompasses telecommunication as well as energy. So the agencies under my ministry would be the works, would be the roads, the maritime industry, the transport and harbors, MARAD, the aviation sector, which would be the regulatory body, GCAA, as well as the airports. I also have the energy sector, which would be the Guyana Energy Authority, GPL. I also, under my ministry, would be the post office. Of course, the ferry crossings. So it's quite a large and diverse ministry. And we've been tasked with the government's mandate of infrastructure development, and our goal in our first 5 years term is to link the hinterland with the coast, because obviously the hinterland areas, including Essequibo, where all of most of our mineral wealth is, and we found next year, in 50 years since we were independent, they're now linked, and when linked, I'm talking about road access as well as more airstrips, as well as doing our ports and harbors. That is the remit which the government has given me, and in that end, that's where I'm pursuing and carrying the ministry.
Honorable Patterson, you have your work cut out for you, but I know you're very capable of doing the job and taking it to the next level. As we talk about, and I will get straight into it, between Guyana and Venezuela on the border, and like we said, you have a lot to really deal with, and this is added, you have to deal with. But your neighbors, Venezuela, your neighbor, how we are doing so far, and how we kind of solving that problem?
Well, the controversy obviously arose out of Venezuela's non-acceptance of an arbitral award in 1859. We, as a government, feel that the probable recourse and the most suitable recourse would be to go to the ICJ, which is the International Court of Justice for Final Determination, purely because previously for the last 40 years, 50 years, we were fellas. Agreement with the good fellow would have been obviously a person appointed by the UN who would act as a sort of arbiter or mediator should any issues arise. But after 50 years of independence, they found that it process move forward, and so that is the message which the president and his team, who are in the UN at the moment, are carrying to the rest of the world. I mean, we need a final determination of this here so that we can move ahead. As far as the Guyana is concerned, I think most of the rest of the world, the borders has been settled. The Venezuelans are claiming that that there was some deviances in the arrival of the arbitral award, but the arbitral award is binding and final, and and obviously cannot be reopened. Infrastructure-wise, as you know, so that the Essequibo region is quite there's a lot of rivers. There's great potential for hydro. Obviously, we would like to ensure that any long-term deal that we go into with any investors in hydro or any such projects in the Essequibo, that there's stability, and that is our prime goal, pushing for determination, so that we can have stability and to ensure that we can carry out our developmental projects.
So, we come into some sort of compromise with Venezuela on this whole, border issue and land issue and oil issue?
Yes. I mean, obviously our position has been straight. The same for the last 50 years in the sense that the Essequibo belongs to the Guyanese. We've never done anything to provoke our neighbors, because obviously we know that in this global space, all neighbors, all your land neighbors are essential. We've until very recently excellent relationships with Venezuela, but we do hope that coming out of the discussions at the UN, that a clear path forward will be made. In the matter of the petrol fund, which has been very good to Guyana and the Caribbean, that we access fuel at a concessional rate. That agreement comes to end on November 15th. Obviously, if it can be renewed, we will be renewing it. However, we also started looking at several alternatives should that be agreed again and rolled over. But all in all, all we are simply trying to do is to move on. Because obviously we feel that we are where we should be as a country after 50 years of independence. So, basically, we're willing to listen and talk and agree with anyone. The goal is acknowledgement of Guyana's territorial right over our land, including our economic zone, and that's our position.
Most definitely standing your ground and stating your claim. Well, as we move on from the Venezuela-Guyana border, we get straight into the airport, Chetty-Checana Airport. I'm told that there will be some changes coming. Are you at this point could elaborate on changes?
Yes. Of course. As you would have been aware of, probably, and everyone listening, the project started the contract was signed in 2011 by the previous administration. It was shrouded in secrecy and mystery. Obviously, we were unable to ascertain what exactly was the scope of work, who the beneficiaries, etc. And, in opposition, we have asked for it to be reviewed, and this was not an answer. However, on assuming office, I had a review of the project done, and from that, we had met with the contractors who are from China. And the end result, what we will be getting is what I think is an excellent package, in the sense that we will get a new extended runway, just under 11,000 feet long. We'll be getting an expanded and renovated building, which is opposed to what the previous administration wanted to do, which was to build an entirely renovate a very tiny new terminal building. But after review and after the final product of what we're going to get, I think we'll make more than and most importantly, the previous administration, for some unknown reason, wanted to evict about 2,000 households in the areas surrounding the runway under the pretext that houses and people cannot live close to a runway within they quoted something like a mile or two, which you would know in the States that that's not really true. So we've been able to get all of the done without relocating anywhere. I think only about 10 or 12 of the residents in the area, and we made an agreement with them whereby we relocate them just very stone throw away from where they're actually living at the moment. So the end package, the end package is an excellent package. We're even putting in some alternative energy to power the airport, and this is all being done within the same contract sum. So that means it's a concessional loan from the Exim Bank in China. So we've had an enhanced package. I mean, it's far more benefits to the Guyanese traveling public for the next 10 to 15 years, including trying to get alternative energy in there to ensure that we maintain our dream of having a green Guyana.
Well, that's the way to go. And beautiful Guyana, your luscious green vegetation, like Dr. Ali would tell you, keeping it green, and what a place, and in sync with nature. That's the way to go. But as you expand the airport and getting ready for the 50th anniversary of Guyana's independence, and maybe bigger aircraft on that international level, I'm told plans JetBlue will be coming or might be coming in, or if you are that way, you can give us a little hint. If you can be the first to let us know here on We Radio as to some of the carriers that will be coming into Guyana as you get prepared.
Oh, yes, of course, Bob. As you know, so with the expanded airport, the runway, I mean, there's been a lot of interest, including airlines such as JetBlue out of the UK. I mean, I will be shortly leading a team which includes myself and the Minister of Tourism, and maybe the Minister of Tourism will be actually coming up to the States and to Europe to meet with these airlines to see if we can actually have them on board, because obviously we know there's a high demand for next year and moving forward. It is our goal to have a lot more airlift so that we can actually bring the cost down and become more competitive for the Guyanese traveling public. So far this year, we've had the second highest arrival of passengers at the airport since we began keeping records, and we do anticipate that will be even higher next year and the years to come. So it's our responsibility to ensure that the persons can travel cheaply and affordably and comfortably. So we'll be led by into North America very shortly, looking into all the persons who have expressed, and there's several, not only JetBlue, some of the other established airlines have expressed an interest. They're more, some are willing to come immediately, some are considering there's a new line of airplanes which they wanted to bring, but all of this is geared at getting it between 2016 and 2017. The airport runway will be completed in the second quarter of 2017. So by then we would have all our deals and all our flight agreements wrapped up between next year and 2017.
Well, I think the outlook is looking good because, competition is good, and having good infrastructure, a great airport and accessibility, and bringing in other airlines, the other carriers is good competition because the people benefit. We, the people, benefit. So that's a good way to go and look forward to bright and bigger and better things happening in Guyana, and especially coming up for the 50th anniversary of independence. If anything you'd like to touch on? I know we talked to the Minister of Tourism, who talk about a lot of flights coming in from all around the world, as a matter of fact, Europe, Canada, America, and the region, and elsewhere, far parts around the world coming into Guyana. That is great. Anything you'd like to add on that?
Yes. Well, I mean, obviously, I mean, I think it's a milestone in any country achieving 50 years of relatively trouble-free during the lifetime of the country. I mean, there are several activities, you know, I mean, we've already, as Minister will probably explain to you, already started speaking to the airlines. We're speaking to the local industry to ensure that they're up and ready for it. The hotels, I mean, some of them needs priority. Right now, I'm through my ministry in collaboration with the Main City Council, we're doing an expansive city cleanup. I mean, obviously, as you would know, I don't know when last any visitors come, but they will be surprised if they come, even just as I speak. The city is the cleanest. Mm-hmm. It has been in decades. You know, I mean, the communities are actually coming together and cleaning the cities. I mean, the drainage issues we're addressing at the moment. You know, I mean, the Georgetown being below sea level, we always have some challenges with our drainage. But they have a task force working on that, you know, with some assistance from the Dutch and stakeholders worldwide. They're working on that. So we're doing all that we need to do, you know, I mean, to ensure that by the beginning of next year, I mean, that we're ready in tip-top shape to wait on who the persons coming in. I hope you as well will be there. And I'd like to encourage all Guyanese to get back here. You know, I mean, all of the issues we do identify. We do know we have a few challenges, and we're working on them. As you know, stable electricity. The electricity sector is under my portfolio, and I'm looking at several options. Actually, in a week's time, I think a week and a half time, I will be in Canada meeting with investors. This is not only Guyanese diaspora, but investors, but also Canadian investors who expressed an interest in investing in not only energy but infrastructure projects. So I'll be doing that, and as soon as my schedule permits, I'll be coming to the States as well, and Europe, and to kind of say a message. Because Guyana, as the Minister of Business, will probably say is for investment. The potential is bound. I mean, we have in about, I would say, in 3 to 4 years, we have a major oil find off of the coast of Guyana, 120 miles. Mm-hmm. So obviously, when that comes on stream, the entire dynamics of the country will obviously change. So it can come to us to make all the proprietary work now. So that's what we're doing. I mean, we have our projections where the country will be in 2020. I mean, it is articulated by the president. We have to do all that's in our power to ensure that come 2020, the fresh approach and the good life for all is achieved.
Honorable Minister David Patterson, talking about Guyana, Minister of Public Infrastructure, and it's looking good in Guyana. But I want to segue, and it's a good segue because you were talking about, you know, the port and being, you know, below sea level, and you have, you know, a lot to deal with in Guyana. Talking about there were some talks, so you can clear that for me, about a deep sea harbor in Guyana, and with the water and the sea level and flooding in Guyana, especially Georgetown. If you could elaborate a little bit.
Yes, obviously you know that 90% of our imports come by sea. And obviously, now it's economies of scale, whereby I mean, the world is moving to far larger boats, I mean, to make it more economical to bring cargo in. That's something that we have to pass on to the Guyanese public. So we are examining water harbors. I mean, there's a feasibility study done for one off of the Berbice. There's also I also have one commissioned for offshore, which is in the area between coming off the Atlantic. So I mean, that's something, one of the realities that faces us we must have a deep water port because obviously what happens now with cargo coming to Guyana, mostly from coming out from particularly China and the Far East, is that the cargo has to be offloaded in most cases in Jamaica or probably Trinidad and then packed onto smaller boats. Obviously, there's an expense, there's a charge for double handling, freight, and all those things. So we know that one of the ways forward to drive the country forward is ensure that we have a deep water harbor, one, maybe two. I mean, Guyana is abounding, and it's just a question of cost and planning, but it will happen.
Hello, Minister. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. We kind of missed you right at the end of, you say, a matter of planning and execution, I guess.
Yes, planning and execution to get it done. You know what I mean? We've commenced doing the feasibilities and the proprietary work already. Mm-hmm. So the question is just the financing model. It could either be private sector because, you know, we are a very private sector friendly government. We can look at concessional loans and those things like that. So that modeling is what's being done at the moment. Obviously, just like with all of our large projects which we do, we will actually go out and seek investors. One of the investors, you know, one of the things which we will be commencing next year is a new fixed crossing over the Demerara River. Mm-hmm. The feasibility study is being done right now, and as well as a feasibility study. Well, not a feasibility study, a transportation study is being done for the road to then that time we already had some proposals, but we want to ensure that the model we choose, the Guyanese people get the best benefit.
Well, what you talk about the crossing, I'm told that so you might have possibility of relocating the Demerara area and that bridge. What are the plans in terms of better stabilizing the crossway over Demerara River?
Well, what we're doing actually, Bobby, is actually building sticking to proposals to build a fixed crossing. You know, right now we have the Demerara floating bridge, which is about 3 or 4 years old. It serves us really well, mm-hmm. But the traffic has increased tremendously. You know, I mean, we have about 10 to 12,000 vehicles, cars and vans and trucks crossing there every single day. Obviously, for our long-term development, we need a fixed crossing, and so what we are going to do very shortly, hopefully before the end of this year, is go for bids or expressions of interest for companies willing to build the fixed crossing. The area being looked at the moment is Houston area, but however, there's some challenges there. But so we're examining all the options that we have. But the projections are that immediately on completion of a bridge, the first one, wherever it is, we will need a second bridge within a 10-year span. So we'll be doing that entire review, but it shall be completed for sure within the first term.
Minister, I'm told that previous administration had a infrastructure or feasibility study. Are you going to use some of their findings, or are you going to make a totally independent feasibility or much more in-depth feasibility before you go ahead?
Yes, we're doing a much more in-depth feasibility study for the Demerara Bridge crossing. What was done previously was what is called a pre-feasibility study. Basically, they went out for expressions just on the concept. We need to do far more in-depth research and planning. There's a couple of things we have to do: the hydrology surveys. We have to actually do the question of where we're going to actually land the bridge. Ownership, land acquisition. Obviously, we may have to acquire some land from private stakeholders. The road network, obviously, you're well aware with a bridge of that size, you'd have to integrate the bridge and the road network on a bit into your network. So we like to have a holistic plan. So therefore, when we go out for expression of interest, persons can bid on the bridge only. They can bid on the bridge and the road and the connecting network. You know, I mean, so it's a fuller package.
Okay, well, I realize, like I said earlier, you have your work cut out. There's lots of work. We can go in much more detail, but time is against us. So while we on, water and the bridge and the crossing and everything, I think I might segue into the hydroelectricity and cheaper, as a matter of fact, hydro project for cheaper electricity in Guyana. And for quite a while, and I must indeed say, I had talks with the previous administration about, getting the higher electoral plant and working. What are the possibility of making this a reality so the people of Guyana could get cheaper electricity?
Yes, Bob. It is a real pity that the country, abound with such resources, still doesn't have any. When I say any, alternative energy, hydro, wind, solar, power generation that is piped into our grid. That is one of our top priorities, actually, hydro. We are starting and we're commencing with some mini hydros, which is Chumachumari. Shortly, I'll be going back out to resuscitate the Makamaka hydro. There's the Kato hydro. And these are all mini hydros which will power not the central grid, but which will power some of our outlying new townships. We're exploring alternative energy for wind. We have proposals for wind farm. We have proposals for solar farms. But that's one of the issues which I'll be in Canada speaking about and seeking to form up. But on the larger scale, the Brazilians have, at the president's very first international engagement, Brazil has expressed a very, very keen interest in collaborating with us in constructing a larger hydro power station. I think that's in Chumachumari. We are very keen in pursuing that because it is one state or partner of Brazil helps us access larger volumes of funds. The proposed hydro that we are looking at will primarily serve, it's about 3,000 megawatts, 2,500 to 3,000 megawatts, and it's primarily serve the Brazilian market, but we will be getting one revenue from it as well as all the power that we need to power our local grid. So it's a two-pronged approach. In the interim, in the very short term, we're actually powering some of our Baltica. We're going to power 100% by alternative energy. At the Essequibo Coast, we're going to do the same. Lechem, we're going to do the same. Madia and the areas surrounding them, they all will be powered within, I would say, conservatively, the next 18 months. They will have alternative energy, and then obviously we would then work towards getting the larger hydro power and commence before the expiration of our first term.
Well, I think lots happening for Guyana, and in the not-too-distant future, getting ready for the 50th anniversary. So much going on. We have online with us Honorable David Patterson, and that's the Minister of Public Infrastructure in Guyana. And we're going to make a quick break. Honorable, I just ask you to hold on for me for less than a minute, and I'll be right back with you. And we talk about anything you'd like to, just give us an update on Guyana and also on our recent visit here. Well, it's still going on. We have the papal visit and the Pope. But what I want you to focus on a little bit, that's, as a politician, the Pope addressing yesterday the United Nations, but also addressing Congress, the United States. First ever Pope to address Congress. But there's a key issue he talked about, and it has to do with infrastructure and global, warming and the way we can look at the world and saving the planet, the environment for future generation. And I would like you to give us your take on that because this is right up your alley. So hang on with me. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, then. Stick and stay, don't go away. We're right here on We Radio, and we'll be right back.
MGN Funding, your direct mortgage banker and lender in the states of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. MGN Funding. If you're serious about home ownership, now is the time to call MGN Funding. 718-705-4443. 718-705-4443. MGN Funding, here for 16 years, serving our community, putting members of the family into property, saving you lots and lots of money. Refinancing, purchasing, MGN Funding, 718-705-4443. Call us.
Make that call right now, 718-705-4443. MGN Funding, putting us in homes. We talk about infrastructure, owning property. You'll be accustomed with property in Guyana, in Grenada, and throughout the region. So why not get your piece of the American dream right here in America? Call MGN Funding, licensed mortgage banker and lender in the states of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. FHA and VA approved. Applicants must qualify according to credit, income, and property guidelines. Conditions and restrictions may apply. Rates are subject to change without notice. NMLS number 42791. Telephone number 718-705-4443. We can make it a reality. Give us a call. 718-705-4443. Thank you so much for holding. Honorable David Patterson, Member of Parliament, Minister of Public Infrastructure, on with us. If you're just joining us, welcome to our listeners all around the world. Minister, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, what I would like you to, in synopsis, and as we coming to wrap up about what you're doing in Guyana, anything that we missed that you would like to focus on, or you'd like to mention other projects that you're doing for Guyana and infrastructure, feel free to let us know, or to let the public and let everyone give us an update.
Yeah, there's just a couple of things that should be mentioned. One is you probably know that we as a government have made a commitment to the residents of Berbice to lower the cost of the Berbice toll. Unfortunately, the negotiations with the company have not been concluded. So what I have done is reintroduced a river taxi service for over the river. I mean, obviously, when the bridge started, the ferry service ceased. I've reintroduced river taxis only the moment. The water taxis, the enclosed motorized speedboats, they are there, and based on the agreement by the government, all school children in uniform travel free, all pensioners, the elderly travel free, all nurses going to work travel free. But what this has done, it has actually been a tremendous success, actually far more than I would have anticipated. What this has done is rejuvenated the tongue of New Amsterdam, and as well as in Rosenthal, obviously because the bridge bypassed both of those two areas, but now with the reintroduction of the river taxis, those two areas have come alive once again. It's far cheaper for the commuters, our residents in Region 5 and Region 6, including most particularly the young and the old, can now get to and from the schools or place of business or whatever recreational stuff at extremely cheaper and affordable cost. So that is one of the issues that just actually, and that's only started with a week and a half ago. It's been a tremendous success so far. We're also in the process, and I can say this, maybe there's investors listening, of trying to acquire 2 new ferries to traverse the Northwest District, Region 1 and Region 8, the Port Kaituma, Mabaruma area, so that's mainly served by by ferry vessels. Our existing ferry fleet between Heritage are 80 years old, which is obviously way too old. So we're actively looking around for one vessel either to lease or to buy, which meets our specifications to serve those areas better, because obviously they can't develop if we can't provide a service for them to get their produce out and us to get essential goods and services into them. And I'm just running through it. You know, that in 2016 we'll be having local government elections, which of course we haven't had since the last 19 years. But on top of that, more importantly, in that 4 new areas will be made townships. And obviously there are certain requirements for to be a town, obviously it's not just by name only. We have to do new ports for them, new stellings for them. We have to do the road infrastructure. We have to upgrade their power supply. We have to upgrade their administration center. We have to upgrade their airstrips. They all will be done. All 4 will be declared sometime before independence next year. So there's a tremendous pressure on us to have most of these items done for these 4 areas, which are, as you know, Bartica, Madia, Letem, and Mabaruma. So I have a team of engineers who are working feverishly around the clock to ensure that when these tongues, when this becomes a reality, you step into Bartica, Letem, Madia, or Mabaruma, you know that you're in a tongue of Guyana. It has all the infrastructure there and ready. So those are some of the issues which are currently engaging us at the moment.
Well, there's an opportunity for investors, and you feel free to give them your contact or the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Minister David Patterson. Go right ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. I mean, the easiest way to contact me would be via email, and it's minister, minister.infrastructure@gmail.com, minister.infrastructure@gmail.com. Obviously, I'm always connected. I do get back. If not, you can send a letter or what we call snail mail to the ministry, which is in Whites Lane, Kingston. I normally have a very team around me, so we normally get back to any potential investor or person seeking information generally within a week or so. We would get you all the information that we have. If anyone has any ideas, there's several great products and new innovation techniques which people have been sharing with me. If anyone here listening has any of those things, in particular when we talk about sea defenses, comes under me as well. They're all new techniques which is that has been developed. We'd be obviously glad to hear that, because obviously we've been doing the traditional method for so long. So new techniques in line with it, as you were mentioning, the Pope said, in line with our green emphasis on climate change and protecting our environment. So any new innovative green construction techniques or products and help which is affordable, I would definitely willing to hear from persons with those sort of products or features.
Honorable Minister David Patterson, thank you so much. But just before we go on, like you touched on it, the Pope addressing Congress and addressing the United Nations, I was very touched by the Pope appeal for, green energy and saving the planet and leaving it better for the next generation, and having the opportunity to talk to Congress. And here in New York, the largest gathering of world leaders ever in the history, over 70 years, the history of the United Nations, and to have the largest gathering of leaders around the world. And he was so humble and so to the point and direct. I want to get your take on the Pope message to either to Congress or to the United Nations.
Yeah, both. I think the Pope is probably one of our global rock stars, I would say. I saw him when he disembarked. He jumped in the tiny little sports car.
The Fiat, and he was so humble. He was so humble, Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
But his message is very, very pertinent now. It's our responsibility. No, actually not the responsibility. It's our duty to protect this planet from for the future generations. We have, obviously, through the years, I've been in the pursuit for development. We have used employed techniques which have been approved to us as a country, but as a nation and as a world, it is our duty to, with whatever we do, ensure that we protect it. You know what I mean? And the technology is there. The will is there. You know what I mean? Long the developing countries as well as the developed countries agree on carbon emissions and such like. I mean, we can actually work and develop and ensure that reclaim whatever we would have lost in emissions to ensure that the world the state as it is for the next thousands of years. I know in Guyana we are particularly interested in that. You know, we consider ourselves one of the lungs of the world. All our techniques has that in mind. We have to get a few issues under control, which is particularly the mining sector. But I mean, as you know, we are looking at free mining. We're also looking at of seeing the banning of certain non products which are which is styrofoam and those sort of products. I mean, we're looking at that to ensure that we protect the country. And we also have we're also exploring our solid waste management issues. I mean, obviously waste, biomass, waste energy. So therefore that nothing is wasted. Nothing is sent, allowed to pollute the earth. I mean, obviously what we can do is from our waste we can produce energy. And that is an area which the minister can be looking at right now. He's very interested in that. So, I mean, all in all, I mean, the Pope's message is smack on point, and I hope that everyone listens. We have a duty to protect the earth. It's been good to us for all these 1,000 years. It's our turn. Be responsible and take care of the earth for the future generations.
We thank you so much. And like, you know, the Pope, he not only talk it, but he like to say, put your money where your mouth is by that little car, that little Fiat car in showing, cutting down pollution in the city and taking it and saving energy, saving, you know, so much. I think it was well said and well received. And I want to tell you, you were well said and well received here on We Radio. To all our listeners, I enjoy our chit-chat, so to speak, and I want to let you know whenever you happen to be in New York, please, we'd like to invite you to come live, real, in person, in studio, and we can meet and chat some more. I enjoy talking to you, Honorable David Patterson.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure I will take up that offer. I want to say thank you to you listeners. I want to invite them, give them a personal invitation to come to Guyana for our 50th anniversary next year. And I also want to tell them that anyone that has any that can be beneficial to the country, I mean, I'd be grateful if they could share them with us. I mean, obviously, all the ideas is posed here, and we don't even remotely want to think that we have that impression that we know all that should be done. We have to acknowledge that you are in a developed country, so therefore obviously some of the ideas and the techniques which you would have developed could really be in Guyana. So thank you very much for having me here, and I do hope I have an opportunity to be with you live at some time.
Thank you so much. Keep it up. Keep on going. Keep on doing what you're doing. Keep up the great work. I just want to tell you, well, as you know, our Speaker of the House resigned. He said he was planning on it and he was thinking about it, but something about what the Pope said, he was touched, and he was, he wanted to stop that division and all the infrastructure and fighting in Congress and roadblock and bottleneck, so to speak. So he was touched, very touched. I want you to be touched by what the Pope said, but no resignation, no time soon. Honorable.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable.
Resignation.
Right. Minister of Public Infrastructure in Guyana. Keep up the good work. Keep on working for the people of Guyana and the region as a whole. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this is Bob Frederick, Spice Man, right here on We Radio, as we do it just for you. And you heard talking about great plans for Guyana, airport infrastructure, hydroelectrical power, deep water harbor, deep water port, working on it, and working on like the flooding issue and how to prevent that, when Mother Nature doing the thing. And looking forward for the 50th anniversary of Guyana, bigger airlines coming through, possibility JetBlue and other airline carriers coming through. So a lot of good things planned for Guyana. And we thank the minister so much, and we thank you, and we thank MGN Funding for making it all possible. Thank you for giving us the time on your Saturday afternoon right here on We Radio. I'm the Spice Man, Bob Frederick.